Okay, we do need a few pieces of information before we get started with this activity, okay? And the baseline of this activity, the kind of behind the scenes thing, is that apparently your arm is about 10 times longer than the distance between your eyes. It's a fun fact, eh? Your arm is about 10 times longer than the distance between your eyes. So let's check. So what I'm asking you to do, and I'm going to give you maybe 5 minutes to do this, is I need you to get a ruler or a measuring tape, something that you can use to measure your arm. We're going to do the length of your whole arm and then measure that baby out. Okay, just go to your wrist. Okay, we're going to stop at the wrist. Don't go all the way to your fingertips. So you're going to go shoulder to wrist. You're going to measure what that distance is. Okay, so that is your arm length that we're going to find. Then you have to find the distance between your eyes. And so when I say that, I'm saying like go halfway, like middle of eyeball to middle of eyeball. So you're going to need to take your ruler. So if this is my ruler, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go to the mirror and I'm going to hold it up like this. And I'm going to try to figure out what that distance is. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can also, if somebody is available at home to help you, you can get somebody at home to help you if you want. It's totally up to you. Okay. And then what we're going to do, so once you find your arm length and the distance between your eyes, what you're going to do is you're going to divide the distance or the arm divided by the eye distance, and then you're going to put it in this blank here, and that is going to be the ratio that we are going to use. Okay, so I'm going to give everybody, again, we'll do about 5 minutes. Once you have your ratio, once you take your arm length and divide it by your eye length, tell me what the number is that you get. What is the ratio that you get? And just type it in the chat so I know where we are, okay? We'll fill in the diagram together as a class, so don't worry about that. Just worry about measuring those things right now. Okay, so I leave you to it. Go ahead. We'll see you back here in about 5-ish minutes. I am here. I am in front of my computer in case you have any questions about things to measure. So let me know, okay? How we doing here, folks? So once you have those lengths, you should be taking the arm length divided by the eye length and posting that number in the chat. Okay, I'm going to wait 3 minutes and then move on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my numbers with everybody, but obviously your numbers are going to be different for this. As we can see, as people are starting to populate the chat with the different ratios, that's totally okay. Everybody's body is built differently and the proportions are different, right? It's just everybody's numbers are going to be different. So my arm length, so my shoulder to wrist was 54 centimeters. And the distance between my eyes was 7 centimeters. Okay, so then when I do the ratio of the arm length to the distance between the eyes, so I did 54 divided by 7, I got about 7.7 for my ratio. So now just what I'm going to get started by doing is I'm going to fill in this diagram with some of the information that I have. So this line here is the distance from my shoulder to my wrist, essentially, okay? And so this for me was 54 centimeters. And then I also have the distance between my eyes, which was, for me, it was 7 centimeters. Okay, so we can fill that out. And I'm only starting to fill this out right now because we are going to use it again second time around. And basically, this is the like quote unquote experiment. Okay, so again, your numbers are going to be different. But we can use this information to help determine how far away an object is from us. Okay, so from where we are currently, where you are seated. So I would like everybody to pick an object that you would like to know the distance you are away from. Okay, so for me, I live on a main street. Through the window, there is a house across the street that I can see. I would like to know how far I am away from that house across the street. Okay, you could pick something in your room. You could pick something in your house. You could pick something through the window. Okay, we're going to figure out together how far away we are from that object. And here are the steps that we are going to follow. So I'm going to fill that in for number 1, I'm going to say, okay, I would like to find the distance from the house across the street. And, oh, that's going to be way too far. Never mind. Because in the second step, we need to estimate the width of the object. So I have no idea how wide a house is across the street. Okay, so let me do the distance from me to, I have a litter box just in the back corner over here for one of my cats. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say. I want to figure out the distance from me to the litter box. And then I need to estimate the width of the object. So if you would like, you can go ahead and you can measure the width of the object that you would like, or you can go ahead and estimate the width of the object. For me, the object looks to be about, oh, I don't know, 40 centimeters wide. 40 centimeters wide. Okay, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to hold one arm straight out in front of you. And I'm just going to stop sharing for 2 seconds so that you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to hold one arm out right in front of me, okay? And I'm going to look at my thumb. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to align my thumb with one side of the object. So in this case, I'm going to align it with one side of the litter box. And I'm going to close one eye and line it all up. And then I'm going to close my other eye. I'm going to swap eyes. And you're going to notice that your thumb moves. It looks like your thumb moves. Can I just get a confirmation for people in the chat that that is the case for you as well? So I hold up my thumb, I close one eye, and I get it all lined up with one side. And then I switch eyes, and your thumb should move. Sweet. Okay. So my heck is giving me a yes. Okay. Let me come back to what we're doing here. So what you're going to do is you're going to line that up. And then what I need you to figure out is how many widths of the object your thumb appeared to move. So for me, when I hold my thumb up to the side of the litter box, and then I switch my eyes, for me, my thumb moves, I don't know, I'm going to say about like 80% of the way. It goes 80% of the way across. Maybe for you, it's half. Maybe for you, it's double. Doesn't matter. Okay, all we're looking at is how many widths did your thumb move? Does that make sense? Do we understand what we're doing here? Okay, so everybody should have a number there. Okay, and then it says, using your answer from A, what is the estimated distance that the image moved? Okay, so for me, I moved 80% of the actual width. So my actual width was about 40 centimeters. So I need to find 80% of 40 centimeters. Okay, so for me, I'm going to do 0.8 of 40, which for me is 32 centimeters. If your thumb moved double the width, so it doubled over, you're going to times it by 2. If it was only half, you're going to divide it by 2. But you're going to figure out the estimated distance that the image has actually moved. Okay, so we need those two numbers together. So we're going to take this number. So in this case, my 80% times my 40 centimeters. And that gets me my 32 centimeters. Now we're going to fill in the diagram with the additional information that we have found. So right from the beginning, we were able to fill in these two lines on our diagram. Okay, we knew the distance of our arm. So for me, that was 54 centimeters. Okay, we had the distance between our eyes, which for me was 7 centimeters. And now I know we can estimate the distance that the image has moved. So that is our number from here. And so the estimate for me that my image has moved was 32 centimeters. Are we okay over here? Yes? No? I'm lost? What's happening? Kinda. Thank you, Mahek. Okay, well, so once we've estimated how far our image has moved, which is this line, we have our distance between our eyes, we have the distance of our arm, and what we're looking to find is this distance right here, is the actual distance that we are away from this object. Remember, that's what we were looking to figure out, okay? So I just have the positions down here. We're going to identify which triangles are similar, and we're going to label our vertices and also determine our scale factor. Okay, that's where this all comes into play. So I'm going to redraw my two triangles here. I have my first triangle where I'm between my two eyes. The distance between my eyes was 7 centimeters, and this distance is 54 centimeters. I then have another triangle up here where the distance is 32 centimeters. And I'm looking to determine the height of that triangle. So we have similar triangles here. We can see that our bases are going to be the same, and they're similar triangles based on kind of like the spiel I gave you before, right? Where we have a triangle like an X with the two sides drawn in, just like we saw before. Those two triangles are actually similar triangles, and it has to do with the angles that are inside here. And so what we saw originally right at the very top was if you have an X with the two sides built in, the opposite sides here are going to be similar in length, and so are the rest of the dimensions. And so in this case, we're looking at the heights of the triangles as being similar. We're going to find our scale factor now, and we can find the scale factor using the 32 and the 7. So for me, it was 32 and 7. For you, it's going to be something that's, excuse me, that's very different. Okay, so my scale factor is going to be 32 divided by 7. And I'm just going to round to the nearest first decimal. So that's about 4.6 for me. My scale factor is 4.6. Your scale factor is going to be very different. And then we can determine the distance the object is from me by using the scale factor and our knowledge of similar triangles. So we're going to do the last little bit here. We can find our unknown side. Okay. We're going to say 54 blank 4.6 is going to be equal to our distance, so the distance that the object is away from us. And we're going from smaller triangle to bigger triangle, right? 7 centimeters is smaller than 32, so we're going from small to big, which means that we need to multiply. So 54 times 4.6 for me gets me 248.4 as my distance. So I can conclude by saying the object. So for me, I was looking for my litter box. I can say the litter box is about 248.4 centimeters away from me. All right, folks. And so that was kind of the investigation. So it's this kind of cool idea that you can take your thumb, you can literally rate your thumb, you know, see how far apart things are, do a little bit of multiplication, and actually get the exact distance that that thing is away from you, or an estimated distance of how far that thing is away from you. Pretty sweet. Yeah. I'm going to start recording here, stop recording here.